Yo, what's up guys? Mistwater here. Today I want to make a video about like all the classes for Shadowlands, kind of what we can expect in the future. I'm not gonna go too crazy into depth about all the healers, but we'll kind of sort of explain some of the major changes, and then later on I think I might do a individual video for each class, and then when it gets closer to Shadowlands, I'll do like the deep dive videos where I'm going to do all the math for all the healers and we'll figure out exactly like who I think is going to be the strongest. So I don't really care to do any other classes besides healing, so we're just going to focus on those 6 healing classes. And yeah, it'll be kind of refreshing to not be talking about Monk 24/7. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So let's start with the Resto Druid, which is looking pretty good, I might add. So here's the Covenant abilities, yeah. Uh, Kyrian has kindred spirits. Every 1 minute you form a bond. It's basically a ghetto symbiosis with somebody else. If you pick a tank, you can activate it. Let's see, I think 1 minute cooldown, 10-second duration. You activate it, and then 40% of all healing you do, or 50% of all healing you do, is replicated towards them. I actually think this is pretty insane. Um, because 1/6 uptime is something like 17% or something, and then 17% of 50% is like 6% in healing increase if you are in charge of healing the tank. So that's a pretty nuts healing cooldown in my opinion, right? Especially if you activate this during a moment when you're bursting really hard. You could burst heal the raid while burst healing the tank at the exact same time. It's like a beacon, right? Um, there's the other one where if you use kindred spirits on a DPS, you just get primary stat. That one's okay. It says for every for every 50 damage you deal. I don't know what that really means. Maybe it only works on damage, so we'll be forced to use this one. Um, so yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see. Hopefully this works in healing too. Vinthier, Ravenous Frenzy for 20 seconds. Any druid spells you cast increase your healing damage or haste by 2%. Stacking. So this can probably get up to like on average like 20 stacks during the 20-second duration. 3 minute cooldown. If you spend 1.5 seconds idle, the frenzy overcomes you, consuming 3% of your health per stack, stunning you. Yeah. So this is like a surrender to madness. This could be pretty good. Obviously, it's for more cooldown focused druid. I think I did the math on this, and it's like because you think it's haste and healing, right? So this is double dip for a Resto Druid because all of their stuff is hots, right? So this will work twice essentially. Um, your average stacks this is while this is active is like 10. So that's 20% haste and 20% healing, which is like 44% increased healing while it's active. 3 minute cooldown, so it's up for 1/9, 10%. Okay, not bad. About a 4% HPS increase. I don't man. I gotta stop doing all the math for all this stuff. This is not the video for the math. My bad. I was like, okay, we're just gonna do a simple video. Okay. Adaptive Swarm. This is a really cool hot you can put on somebody that increases your healing while it's on them. Convoke the Spirits. This is an insane ability that allows you to cast 16 Druid spells over 4 seconds. For a restoration, it's supposed to be regrowth and rejuve, which is pretty cool. Moving on, let's talk about some of the changes that are notable. Um, where is the, let's see. So yeah, there's some interesting changes. Why am I Mistwater? I'm not prepared. Alright, let's go to restoration. Okay, so there's some changes with bar skin and stuff like that. Nothing too crazy. Some mana cost adjustments on a lot of your spells, mostly for the best. Effervescence got cheaper. Innervate now has a passive where it works on you as well if you put it on somebody else for 50% effectiveness. Ironbark has the talent Stonebark baked into it, but the cooldown of Ironbark's increased by 50%. So I'd still consider that a win, right? 20% increased healing when you put that on the target. I think they're really trying to focus on making Resto Druids tank healers, which is really interesting. So I hope the world's ready for that. We have Nature's Swiftness back, which increases the healing of a regrowth, makes it instant. You can use that once every minute, so 100% increased healing on that. Life Bloom got way cheaper. Regrowth has a extra effect on top of everything. It heals for 40% more basically if you already have a regrowth on a target. It's technically 40% increased critical strike chance, but yeah. Um, Rejuve doesn't matter. Nothing really changed. Um, I think that's for the most part Resto Druid. Oh, yeah, Swiftman, right. Swiftman has its cooldown cut in half, its mana cost cut in half, so good and good. And then, it consumes a regrowth, wild growth, or rejuve on the target in that order of preference, and heals for 240% spell power, which is a lot. That's a lot of healing. It's going to be really good. Basically, it's a 15-second nuke now. Think of it as like Holy Word Serenity. Trank got a 10% buff. And I think that's the only notable thing about Resto Druids. Oh, Nourish. Right, we can't forget about Nourish. So Nourish is this new spell in your talent tree right here. Heal friendly target for 135, which is an average amount. Um, it will be 2-second cast, but here's the kicker. It receives triple the bonus of your mastery, right? So if Druids weren't already the greatest single target healers in the world, they could go a Nourish build and become the greatest single target healers in the world, right? Because you could just take all the hot increasing things, stack all mastery and cast Nourish, and probably basically heal a tank for like a lay on hands every cast, honestly. The math behind this is nutty. It gets so crazy. Triple mastery. Whenever you put triple something, it's yeah. So that's my first initial thought of Druids. They got massive single target healing increases, which is weird because that was already their strong suit, and they're having a hard time in raid healing. So I think if there is single target healing to be done in raid, they're going to be very strong. If there's no single target healing to be done in raid, they're going to be very weak. Um, that's that. Okay, moving on. Let's go to Monk. Most of you guys are here for Monk. Um, so I think have they released some of these? Oh wow, they actually finally released them, huh? Okay, so Kyrian, Weapons of the Order. For the next 30 seconds, mastery's increased by 15%. That's kind of dog shit already. Um, Additionally, Windwalker's Rising Sun Kick. Okay, so for us, Essence Font's cooldown is reset instantly and heals all nearby allies for 240% spell power on channel start and end. Wow, that's a big heal. All heals nearby allies. That's a huge heal, actually. Wow. Okay, so you would Essence Font, Weapons of the Order, immediately Essence Font for a huge amount, and then Essence Font, and then it like heals, and then it does a nice Essence Font, and then a big heal at the end. That's a lot of AoE healing. Um, Venthyr, Fallen Order, open the mirror over the next 24 seconds, summoning reflections of your order back. Um, okay, and then I haven't looked at these guys, so this is my first. I didn't realize new Covenant abilities came out. Sorry about that. Um, Mastered Oxcrane. Okay. Healing with Renewing Mist. Assault with an additional for 2 cents. Okay. Oh, of your orders, Fallen Oxcrane and Tiger Adepts every 1 second for 6 seconds. Fallen monks that have mastered this style will also attack your enemies with heal with enveloping mist. I don't understand what that means. What? Okay, so they're gonna cast spells. I guess they're gonna cast either renewing mist or enveloping mist on targets. Okay, so it's like mirror images for 24 seconds. Um, and these guys come out and they cast spells for you. That's all I understand. It's a cooldown, a 3-minute cooldown. That doesn't make any sense. Unless now if these spells cast for you and you can extend them with Rising Sun Kick, now or with Rising Mist, now we're talking, right? Because if these little guys to the order put up all the hots and you can extend them, this is obviously the clear winner so far, in my opinion. Right? So far for Rising Mist build. This is obviously for Upwelling. Necrolord, Bone Dust Brew, Hurl a Brew at the enemies, coating all targets. Your abilities with 50% chance to affect the target a second time at 20% effectiveness is shadow damage or healing. Interesting. See, my first thought already is, would this affect the Rising Mist? Because if it says affects them a second time, right? What's the duration? 10-second duration, 1-minute cooldown. 50% chance. Yeah, that seems pretty strong if this works with Rising Mist. Um, Night Phase, strike the ground, exposing feline for 30 seconds, dealing damage, blah blah blah. Uniting enemies with Breath of Fire, Mistweaver, and healing allies with Essence Font Bolt. Okay, ripping Chi and Energy Spear out of the enemies. Your abilities have a 10% chance of resetting the cooldown of Bayline Stomp while fighting on a Bayline? What the fuck? Okay. Okay, so Phalanx Stomp looks like a ability that you're gonna constantly hit, and then as you're playing the game, if you're on a Phaline, then there's a chance that you get Phalanx Stomp off cooldown again, and so it's just like a little baby heal for free. So this is something that you could constantly maybe just keep pressing. I'm not quite sure who uses this, right? Because Upwelling doesn't spam, and Rising Mist will spam, but they don't want to lose all these GCDs, right? And this is clearly going to be on the GCD, so I don't know about that. Um, okay, so that's Covenant abilities for Monk. Let's go ahead and look at class changes. This video is going to be so long. Sorry, guys. And I'm trying to speedrun it, but it's like there's so much to talk about. Okay, so Enveloping Mist got its mana cost increased. Some adjustments when you got that. Fortifying Brew has some minor changes, nothing too. Oh yeah, this is actually kind of crazy. So they're switching around some of the defensives how it works, right? They're nerfing your Fortifying Brew and putting it on a 7-minute cooldown. But I think it'll make sense later on because there's some other things you get. Um, so they basically gave us Chi baseline, but now they're calling it Yulon. So it jumps around and heals raid members. It's the exact same thing as what Chi is now, the crane, but it's just called Yulon the Jade Serpent. And then Chi is going to be they're going to switch it in a talent tree, and I'll show that in a second. Um, Renewing Mist got its mana cost reduced, which is kind of nice. Soothing Mist got a spell power increase, so maybe it might actually be useful for once at the start of the expansion. Maybe. Let's see. Spinning Crank Kick doesn't matter. No changes there. No changes there. Oh, okay, so Vivify has its mana cost increased by quite a bit. That's definitely a nerf. So here's Invoke the Chi. This is basically now Invoke the Chi is a 2-minute cooldown, but it's just Wave the Crane, right? So summon an effigy of Chi while you melee. You get 25% increased damage, and dealing physical damage heals 3 nearby allies for 150% of damage dealt. It's the exact same thing now, but it's on the talent tree, right? So if we go to the Monk talent tree, you'll notice that on here now is Invoke the Chi because Yulon is baseline. So basically, just think of it like this. Wave the Crane is baseline. Or sorry, Wave the Crane is a talent in your talent tree. Invoke Chi is baseline. So yeah. Oh, I guess we still have the statue, huh? I don't know why. I hate the statue so much. I know people love it, but fuck, I hate that statue. Alright. That is it, I believe, for Monk. No major changes outside. Oh yeah, there's actually there's one more thing I forgot to mention. Uh, let's minimize you. Let's minimize new. Okay, this is that covenant ability. Now there's one more thing. I know there's expel harm. Oh yeah, you have expel harm now. It's a weird like 15-second cooldown where it just heals you for a little bit. Um, and then when you're soothing misting and you use expel harm, your soothing mist target's also healed. It's like a little baby heal. I don't know. It's not that much. There was something else. There was you get another cooldown, guys. Where is it? This is what happens when you try to speedrun this shit, dude. Why is it not on here? There's a cooldown where you guys summon the dragon and it heals everybody. All right, well, there's more changes probably to come. I'll be making like a deep dive of all the killers, but yeah, this is just rapid fire. So that's the monk. Moving on, let's do paladin. Okay, so here's their covenant abilities. There's one that allows them to holy shock everything, up to 5 targets around them, and they can do that once every minute. That one's obviously going to be everyone's go-to for Kyrian, because of Glimmer and stuff. Ashen Hollow. This is like a dark consecration on the ground that also heals allies, I believe. It doesn't seem that good in my opinion. They haven't made the Necrolord one. Night Fae. Party members within 40 yards bask in your aura of summer, causing their attacks to have a high chance to deal Holy damage? There's no healing on this? High chance to deal holy damage. Turn of Autumn after spending 20 holy power. Turns to Autumn after spending 20 holy power. So your current aura turns to Autumn. Wow, interesting. So as you're playing the Holy Paladin, you'll just slowly give them this aura of summer for one hit, maybe? I don't, or like maybe you like maintain this after a while. I don't know, but either way, this is a pretty big damage increase for all your raid members. So like this might be insane if you're just forced to take this passive increased damage to everybody as a healer. There's actually a lot of stuff like this where we buff the raid members. I really hope that we're too busy healing and that this stuff is difficult to take. I really do. But either way, there's Paladin's Covenant ability so far. Not much to go off of. You're either taking Divine Toll or we're waiting on the Necrolord one. Night Phase, a DPS increase. This is like Minthier's, maybe some Mythic Plus shit. I don't know. Or maybe everybody stacks in it. 4-minute cooldown. It's really. I mean, does this even do that much healing? 110% healing power times 12. I'll split over allies. I mean, like each second. I don't know. It's a channel. You do a massive heal, and then you consecrate the ground and doing shadow damage underneath. So it's just a massive heal. That's all it is. Okay. Paladin. Let's see, what do the boys get? Oh yeah, so some big changes with Paladin right off the bat. You have Holy Power back. Okay. I at first was not a fan of this, and I think I decided right on the spot I was not playing Paladin just because of Holy Power. But I've kind of slowly come around to it, and so maybe if I have like a third alt, this is gonna be it, right? Or like maybe as my second alt, we'll see. But it's definitely not my first alt or my main. You know what I mean? But I'll explain kind of why I think they might be interesting. I really fucking hate Holy Power though. Okay. So let's see. Oh, our mastery now is just 8 seconds. Avenging Wrath. Okay, that doesn't matter. Oh, Beacon of Light was increased from 40 to 50%. Anytime you heal the beacon on accident, honestly, let's be honest, you get 1 holy power rather than refunding mana. Okay. Oh yeah, every holy chalk you do grants 1 holy power. Every crusader strike you do grants 1 holy power. So that's basically the only way you can create holy power, which means that paladins baseline now honestly have to be in melee if you want to be playing to your most effectiveness. Paladins are not a not melee class ever again now. They like before it was a playstyle. I mean, you'd be stupid to not go to the Glimmer playstyle, but now they literally baked it in. You have to be melee, which is good and bad, right? Because that means Blizzard has to design fights with that in mind. Which means Rising Mist will be able to be played like that in Shadowlands. Okay. Blessing and Sack is baseline. Some slight changes. Oh, I really like what they're doing here. Okay, so you guys know your Infusion of Light procs, yeah? They swapped the bonuses. So remember how it used to increase the healing of Flash of Light and then decrease the cast time of Holy Light, which effectively made them like the same, right? Now they've increased the cast time of Flash of Light and increased the healing of Holy Light. So now you have this super fast Flash of Light, or you have this really slow but really heavy hitting Holy Light on. So I really like that change because then you can actually make like a decision, right? Like if someone goes super low randomly and you just need to heal them a tiny bit, boom, Flash of Light. But otherwise, you'll just use most of your procs on Holy Light and it'll just be a nuke, right? So some really good changes. They increased the mana cost of Holy Shock by 40%, so maybe Holy Paladins might use some of their mana. Okay. I think that's maybe it. Oh, Light of Dawn doesn't cost mana. Its healing slightly nerfed, but now it costs 3 holy power instead, and it has no cooldown. So if you have a way of just generating infinite holy power, you could just light it on, light it on, light it on, light it on, right? Also, the other thing that you spend your holy power on is one other thing. Where is it? It is everybody has it. Show it to me. I think it's in the general area, maybe. I feel like this is the shit that I would put up at the very beginning. It's a single target heal. Of course, I cannot find it. Okay. What the fuck? Why is it not in here? Anyways, you can use your 3 holy power on a single target heal instead. That's instant. Retribution paladins were the only ones that used to have it. Um, it was that you fucking you heal everybody around you kind of thing, but now it's just a single target. Boop. You just heal somebody for a little bit, right? So you can either choose to use your holy power on an AoE heal or a single target heal. Either way, they're both free, right? That's the important part. Um, I think that's the gist of it. We looked at that. We looked at that. Okay, that's pretty much done with Holy Paladin. Well, obviously, guys, we're gonna go into these. I'm gonna, in the videos later on, I'm gonna go into these really hard. Oh, Glimmer of Light is part of the talent tree. We can look over this real quick. Do 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 do. Okay, yeah. So see, guys, Glimmer of Light is down here at the very bottom. There's not too many. Oh, Seraphim is in the talent row now. Divine Purpose is here, which is interesting. So it has a chance for you to get holy power and increase the holy power that you do. Um, Holy Avenger now is different. Your holy power generation is tripled for 20 seconds. So I was already thinking, guys, there's maybe a build where you go Holy Avenger Awakening. And so when your wings is up, every single time you holy shock, it makes 3 holy power, which then makes you always. Also, every time you Crusader Strike, right? Crusader's Might, you also get 3 holy power. So you Crusader Strike, Light of Dawn, Holy Shock, Light of Dawn, Crusader Strike, Light of Dawn, Holy Shock, Light of Dawn, and you just have. I feel like you just have permanent wings. I don't know. And then, oh yeah, Holy Avenger is a duration not based off wings. That's right. So you wouldn't be able to chain infinitely, but that would be a pretty badass wings. If I do say so myself. So okay, next class. Fucking Speedfire. Policed. Okay, so Kyrian. Boon of the Ascended, draw upon power for 10 seconds, so it's a 10-second buff, 3-minute cooldown. Getting Ascended Nova, replacing Holy Smite with Ascended Blast, increasing your movement speed by 50%. Upon expiration, release and explode for a bunch of healing. And increases by 3% for each stack of Boon of Ascended. So I feel like this is really good if you're like haste stacked, because you're just like, you turn into this turret for 10 seconds where you're just like boom, 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 and then it explodes for a Nova, healing everybody. Sorry, I just teased. Okay. Whatever. It's a 3-minute cooldown. We'll have to see how hard it hits. It looks good. 200% spell power, healing everybody within 15 yards. 3% per stack. You maybe cast 10 spells during it. It's not that what you fucking do. 15% increase. It's an okay heal for the whole rate if they're stacked every 3 minutes, but not very good in my opinion. Vintir Mind Games, I believe this is like a PvP thing, right? Yeah, because it causes an enemy who does damage to instead heal, or who's about to heal to instead do damage, right? Um, yeah, that's a wall of text right there. Yeah, this is basically PvP though. I know that. Unholy Nova. My mouse is dying. Dark energy healing allies within 15 yards. Okay, so it's just like a supernova. What's the cooldown on it? Let's see. 1 minute. Okay, so every 1 minute you're gonna heal 150% spell power. Oh no, it's down here. Enemies who damage this target. Oh yeah, that's right. It debuffs them. Okay, so um, how long is the debuff? 15 seconds. Okay, so it does a heal, then it debuffs the enemies for 15 seconds, and anybody who attacks it gets 20% spell power. I actually think this is insane because 20% spell power on each time they damage them. Like, that's insane. The whole raid healing that like every second for 15 seconds. This is the winner, in my opinion, by far. This is nuts. This would be 400 spell power, 400% spell power every second. Yeah, this is Necrolords is insane. Knife Fae for the next 10 seconds, so 10-second buff, 1.5-minute cooldown. Um, oh yeah, this causes your healing spells to give a buff, right? Um, so for okay, we're gonna be looking at Holy first, just so you guys know. But we'll read the Discipline one while we're here. Um, So for disc, if it's Shadowman or Mind Blast, reduce an ally's damage taken by 10% for 15 seconds. If you use it on Powered Shield, they get 2% mana or 20% of a resource like Rage. If you use Power Radiance, all their cooldowns are reduced by 3 seconds, all their major ones. For Flash Heal, for Holy, it's Flash Heal and Heal reduce damage taken. Power Shield does the same thing as this, so it gives them 2% mana or 20% of a resource. Prayer of Healing does the same thing as Power Radiance. It reduces all their major cooldowns by 3 seconds. So I think it's interesting that you have a cooldown that doesn't increase your healing per se, but instead buffs your allies. There's actually a lot of stuff like that for priests, so priests are kind of interesting. So first things first that I noticed is that you guys are getting power and fusion back in general, right? I'm gonna read Holy first. So and you're getting it back, but you're allowed to use it on anybody. That's the gimmick, right? So you can use Power Infusion on anybody, and it increases their haste by 25% for 20 seconds. So I don't know. We might be in one of those situations where the raid leader just forces you to use it on DPS. I really hope that's not the case. Or we might be in situations where they just decide to buff one healer, right? Like we innervate and PI somebody and they just go ham. And I'm not quite sure who that would be. Like who could do the most healing right now with what I've seen so far. My gut feeling is it's probably gonna be like I don't know. Who's the best target to always innervate and PI? I guess a resto shaman. I don't know. Who's gonna spam the best, you know? Okay. So Flash Shield got its mana cost increased. It's pretty dog shit, honestly. It's not that much healing for a lot of mana. But Heal got its healing increased a decent amount, but it also got its mana cost increased. So this kind of negates the change. But at least Heal is pretty competent now. Look at how they're really forcing the difference between these two. I like that, right? So Flash Shield does like almost half the healing of Heal, but their mana costs are relatively the same. So Flash Shield is like pretty inefficient and should only be used to save like a life, right? Um, Holy Nova, same thing. Holy Nova is actually kind of worth healing if you have like 20 people stuck on top of you. Um, Binding Heal got nerfed more. I don't know why it wasn't being used. This is an inexcusable nerf, and it will never get used. That's so much mana cost right there. It's ridiculous. Oh, Circle of Healing is baseline. That's right. So 3.3% mana. You basically push it every 15 seconds, and it's a smart heal. It just heals injured people around you within 30 yards. Boop. Oh, there's a new talent called Prayer Circle. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. Okay, so here's the new talent tree. Not much has changed. On the 40th row, you have Prayer Circle. So when you use Circle of Healing, you reduce the cast time of Prayer of Healing by 30% for 8 seconds. Clearly the AoE build, AoE healing build. You'll just pop Prayer of Healing, or Circle of Healing, and then you'll just cast, 8 seconds worth of Prayer of Healings, and that'll be kind of like your burn. Maybe, honestly, with Prayer Circle, Priest would be the PI innervate target. Honestly, because the amount of healing they're going to do is pretty insane, especially since it's going to be able to get off a lot of their holy word sanctifies, right? So you're getting thoughts still back as a PvP town, I guess. Interesting. Okay, we looked at the covenant abilities already. Here's some of the spells. I don't think anything shall. See, now available to all specs. All specs have PI, and you can use it on the target, not you. Prayer of Fortitude got nerfed to 5%. That's whatever. Okay, I think that's basically. Oh, Prayer of Mending is an instant cast now. Oh yeah, and Holy Nova has its global cooldown reduced by 0.5 seconds. So if you get a lot of haste, guys, if you get 100% haste, you could Holy Nova every half second. So think about it. Just like Holy Nova, Holy Nova, Holy Nova, Holy Nova, just over and over and over and over. It'd be kind of funny, right? Especially in like a 5-man thing, and you just pull like the whole dungeon. I don't know. I feel like they could actually do a lot of DPS with this. Um, okay, I think that's priest. Well, at least holy priest, right? Let's do this priest now. So we'll back it up here a little bit. Okay, Disc Priest. I don't think there was. Oh yeah, do you have Flash Heal? I guess now. You get a lot of. We got a lot of things. Oh, I guess was there Mind Blast before for Shadow Priest? Shadow Priest is the heal I know the least about, guys. So I'm gonna butcher this. But I think that they didn't have Mind Blast before, but they have it now. Um, Penance got its mana cost reduced a little bit, which is nice. Power Radiance has an extra charge, but I think that's wording issue. It's just still 2 charges, cause yeah. They increased the healing on Power Radiance a little bit. That's nice. They increased the, wow, they increased how much powered shields by quite a bit, by 30% right there. But look how much they increased the mana cost. So powered shield is very expensive now. Holy shit. Shadowman, they increased the cost on it, is very expensive. Jesus, I don't understand how they're gonna apply atonement. That's kind of nuts. Maybe that they're trying to reduce, but they also increased the healing. Maybe they're trying to like make them actually think about who they power shield and who they Shadowman rather than make it all atonement healing. And I think that's what they're trying to push it towards. Shadow Ward Pain is now available to all specs. Mind Blast name change from Smite to Mind Blast. Oh, so you guys don't have Smite anymore. So this is your new Smite. We have numbers on this. Let's see. Let's go to Priest. Come on. The website's lagging really bad. Hello. Specialization disc. Let's look at class abilities. Let's look at Mind Blast. 3% mana, so that's a lot of mana. Blast the target for a little bit of shadow damage. Oh, but it still prevents spell power damage dealt. So just it has that shield aspect from Smite that it used to have. 15-second recharge? Wait. What are you guys supposed to spam? I'm really confused. You guys get holy. Let me see if you guys get holy fire in as a baseline. Maybe we just look at this, huh? You guys get prayer of mending? Really? Wow. Okay, so you get prayer of mending as a disc priest. That's kind of interesting. Okay. You still have power word barrier, but I think power barrier is a little different. Nope, it's pretty much the same. Okay. Why does this have a holy fire symbol? You have fade. Okay. Oh, you have shadow word death now, guys. In case you were wondering, you have shadow word pain and shadow word death. Penance, man. I don't know. I'm trying to think. Oh, I guess you have smite. Okay, so you still have smite, but oh, smite is like a new thing. Okay, so it hits for a baby amount, 0.7% mana. Okay, so you still have smite. Good. Okay, I was so confused. All right. God, I suck at this priest, dude. Okay, I don't know. So interesting. So you have Palm, you have Flash Heal, you have uh Shadow Mend. I don't know how they're gonna be played because it looks like all the attunement applying things are very expensive. So yeah, I don't know. Okay, moving on. I've officially butchered that class. Shaman. Alright, here's somebody I'm definitely excited about. So they have Vesper Totem for the Kyrian. So you summon a totem at a location for 30 seconds. Basically, the next 3 spells you have will just randomly send out a healing pulse. The healing pulse is 100% spell power for 6 allies, so 600% spell power heal. So 1800% healing every 1 minute, which is very powerful. But it should only be used if you can actually hit 6 targets each time, and they actually need the healing. I guess the unfortunate part about this is that it goes whenever you cast a heal, and it does cost a little bit of mana, because these numbers are off, so it's actually 2% mana. So it's probably going to be a global, cost 2% mana, but it'll be a big heal 3 times. So right before AoE damage comes out, you Vesper Totem, boom, 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 lots of healing, the melee's healed. Chain Harvest, 1.5 minute cooldown. Then a Wave of Anima, which jumps around. So this is like an OP chain heal, I guess, which does damage. For each target critically struck, the cooldown of Chain Harvest is reduced by 5 seconds. How many targets? To 5 enemies and restoring up to 5 allies. So this is 10 targets potentially, because it can jump between allies and enemies. So I guess if all of it crit, that'd be 50 seconds off. So yeah, you could get back like 60% of the cooldown if it all crit. That's pretty cool. But I feel like it's not worth unless you can get a lot of the cooldown off. It is free though. 2.5 second cast though. Ooh. I mean, as far as the healing goes, it's not that much healing. That's only about 600% healing of your 600% coefficient worth of healing. So I'm not really liking this one. Necrolord, Primordial Wave. This one's really interesting. So it's a fucking massive spell though. So it'll be 2% mana, 45-second cooldown, 1.5 second cast. You blast your target, do some damage, okay? And then, if you're Restoration, you heal an ally so instead of blasting an enemy, you heal an ally, and then you apply Riptide to them, okay? Then, your next healing wave will also hit all targets affected by your Riptide. Okay, so let's think about this, yeah? You probably have 2 to 3 Riptides out, boom, Primordial Wave, you blast the dude, right? Now there's 3 or 4 Riptides out, and then you healing wave, and it also heals all of those targets that had that. So I think Primordial Wave is going to be insane for 5-man healing. Just to hit a 4 or I guess a 3 or 4-man healing wave just seems insane. So I know Night Fae 1 hasn't been made. All right, let's look at Shaman changes down here. Okay. Nope. Restoration. So chain heal. Okay, so there's gonna be a lot of number changes on here, guys. So one thing you need to remember, right? Where is it at? It should be under. I think is this it? Yeah. Let's read this first. Okay. So in case you guys didn't know, all healers in this game have a hidden passive, called like core passive, right? And I don't know why, but this is just how Blizzard tunes things. Whenever you see when Blizzard says like Restoration Druids plus 3% to all healing, what they're really doing is they're changing this core tuning knob, right? So the only difference here is that Blizzard, for whatever reason, decided to remove this tuning knob from Blizzard, from the Resto Shaman, but then they have to retroactively re-add it. Okay, so before, if you guys didn't know, like if you're wondering why maybe like the numbers are different than your tooltips, Resto Shamans had a plus 46% to all healing spells and healing things like from trinkets and shit. That would just you didn't. This wasn't in your spell book. You didn't even know about this. This just existed. So this is being removed, which is really nice because this means that when you look at something and you read it, and it'll actually do the amount that it says it's supposed to do. But this means that they have to re-add that 46% back into the base coefficients, right? And so that's what all of these green numbers are. Now, where it gets a little bit wacky is when the numbers are increased more than 46%. For example, chain heal went from 140 to 255, which I believe this is a little bit more than just a 40% increase, right? Yeah, so chain heal got a little bit of a buff, I think, and then also the mana cost increased a little bit more. So chain heal really costs a lot of mana now, so you really need to think about when you chain heal, but it also does some of the most healing in the game, right? Um, let's see. All right, let's just keep moving on. Uh, so healing stream totem got even cheaper. All specs can cast healing stream totem now. Healing rain. Okay, is the same. Yeah, so all these like buffs, you kind of have to just like figure it out, right? I think healing surge has got a slight buff. It's difficult without crunching the numbers, right? This is just supposed to be a quick guide. Good lord, it's already 40 minutes. Mana cost got increased of healing surge by quite a bit, which is unfortunate. Because healing surge was already pretty expensive. Healing wave had its healing increased drastically. And the cost change is, yeah, so it had its mana cost increased by quite a bit, but it also got a lot of healing, which is interesting. Healing wave might be one of the most powerful single target, if not the most powerful single target heals right now in the game, as far as just baseline single target heals go. Um, okay, we already read this. Riptide, um, nothing to read here. Okay, tidal waves actually, this is relevant. Tidal waves got a little bit of a nerf, um, so it's just less now. I don't know. It didn't feel that impactful before, and so I think this is kind of a mistake. What I would have liked to see is it give them the Paladin's treatment. So I would have liked to see the healing surge sped up and the healing wave is healing increased, personally. Water shield. Oh yeah, so you have a water shield now. Whenever you get hit, you get a little bit of mana back. I don't know how if this is going to be possible to cheese this. This is pretty insane, right? Um, it's also supposed to give you mana per 5. But I feel like if you can find a way to get like a melee critter stuck on you for like the whole fight and nobody kills it, um, there could be some really cheesy shit you could do with this, right? Because 2% of your mana, every single time you get hit in melee, that's nuts. I mean, it obviously has an internal cooldown of like 3 seconds or 5 seconds or something, but just imagine you can get hit with a melee every 5 seconds, you would never go home. So this is potentially cheeseworthy. We'll see how that goes. Wind shear, okay, is available to all specs now. Ascendance got a spell power buff, which is nice. So Ascendance is going to heal for a lot right when you use it. Um, so yeah, it's even more buffed. Before it was already healing for a lot. Cloudburst, no changes. Let's go ahead and switch over to here. We can check out Shaman. Oh yeah, okay. So there are some changes that I do want to talk about. And I'm not. Let's see if it's in. Let's see here. I think yeah, Earthshield is baseline now. Um, yeah, I don't know if it listed here, but Earthshield is now baseline, guys. So you don't have to talent into it. Um, and so that's really cool. And then instead, there's like talents like Surge of Earth, right, where you can consume 3 charges of Earthshield to heal up to 6 nearby allies, for a pretty good chunk. And honestly, this is looking pretty good. So that's cool. Earth Shield's baseline. Nothing too crazy, right? But it is 10% increased healing on the target. So Shamans are looking like maybe the second best single target healer in the game, which is kind of ironic. I mean, you just stack Mastery, right? Heal the target who has Earth Shield. And that would also be their target for like, Healing Rain and Chain Heal and Riptide. And so I actually think Shamans are probably the second best. Um, and then they're probably closely tied with Holy Priest, honestly. I really hope there's a lot of single target healing to be done. Um, High Tide. So High Tide got a nerf. So I think they're really trying to balance these out. So High Tide got a nerf. Ascendance got a buff. Wellspring got a buff, but this is just to counteract the nerf they got. So no changes to Wellspring. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at these. Earthquake. Okay. Oh yeah, you're gonna be getting totems and weapon spells back again. So there's like Flame Tongue weapon, um, and a bunch of other totems that you can cast now. Reduce the cast time of Lightning Bolt by 0.5. Promoted Wave, we already read that. So you have Searing Totem, Tremor Totem. Well, you already Tremor Totem. Wind Fury attack. Oh yeah, you can put Wind Fury on your weapon. It's not like as OP as it was in Classic or anything. So yeah, that's I don't know. There's not too much to talk about, guys, because Shaman didn't receive that many changes, honestly. Which I'm kind of hoping they do more changes, right? Like all you got was Earthshield baseline, and like that's kind of it as far as changes go, and it's a few talent changes, and like that's it. Um, oh, and then obviously there's some, the Covenant abilities are kind of interesting, but honestly kind of boring in my opinion. Okay, I guess that's it, guys, for the healer review. Fuck, this video is so long, whatever. Okay, so here's my initial thoughts, right? I felt like generally a lot of the classes didn't really receive anything that interesting that's getting me that excited. So this isn't necessarily a bad thing because we don't really need crazy changes to make the game fun. The game can make the game fun. So if the changes in Shadowlands makes it to where we actually have to heal, and it's fun healing, and there's important choices between casting that healing surge or casting the healing wave, deciding when to heal and when to flash heal. That's what makes the game fun, right? Having to actually manage your mana, right? Imagine, I know it's crazy, a rising mist monk telling you that, but that's what I want out of the game. I want mana to matter. Um, that being said, I feel like all the classes got some slight changes that didn't really affect them that much. Dis seems around the same. Holy seems about the same. I guess Holy Paladin and Resto Druid, in my opinion, got the most changes. Um, yeah, because I guess Monk kind of got some changes. Monk's gonna see a lot of changes just because there's not gonna be corruptions in the game, right? Like we guys gonna have to relearn how to play without a Giga Haste, right? I do think Rising Mist will still be a play style. We'll have to see if it's still viable, because you really needed all that haste to make it work. But yeah, so Holy Power with Holy Paladins, we'll have to see how that works out. I think Holy Paladins are still going to be incredibly efficient. They're just like not going to use mana because the Holy Power spells don't cost mana. They're also all their spells are still instant cast, except for their two healing spells, which they hardly ever use. So Holy Paladin's looking to be pretty good still. I mean, and Glimmer's in their talent tree, so that does cost them a little bit of power, right? Like, because now they have to waste a talent to get it, and they have to waste their last talent to get it, which really sucks, right? So that's unfortunate for them. So they will kind of see an indirect nerf because now I guess the only thing that really changes is they're gonna be losing. Yeah, this is where they really lose out, right? It's because Divine Purpose used to be here, but now Divine Purpose is here. So they have to choose between Holy Avenger or Divine Purpose. I kind of actually like that. Instead of just stacking Holy Avenger with Sanctified Wrath and then having Glimmer, which they can still do, but they lose out in Divine Purpose, which is a massive way of getting. Yeah. Anyways, Holy Paladin and Druid seemed like the most interesting. Druid just seemed like it got buffed across the board. Druid seems like the clear winner right now. And so, as it stands, without really delving too much into the numbers, and I have gotten into the numbers a little bit on my own, right now I'm thinking Rest Druid is my main. If maybe it's looking like Rest Shaman is my alt, but um, it might be Paladin. We'll see. And the rest of the healers kind of seem boring to me, honestly. I would love there to be a lot more intricate things. There doesn't seem like a single thing that's really that interesting in a lot of the other healers. So I just want a little bit more changes, a little bit more spice. And here's the thing, guys. Like, we don't have the legendaries out. We don't have the tier gear. We have no idea what else Shadowlands is going to provide us. So maybe having bare bones classes isn't actually like a bad thing because we might get a lot of augmentations and really complex systems moving forward. Like, maybe successful systems, like not like Azerite gear, right? So we'll see. But I'm picking Resto right now for my favorite. Then it's probably a tie between Holy Paladin and Shaman. After that, probably Mistweaver. Then it's probably looking like Disc and then Holy Priest is last as far as like interesting or good. If I had to put money on it, like who was going to be good, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was moved around at all. Honestly, Mistweaver might find itself dead last, right? Because who knows? We're not gonna have all the corruptions and the haste gear and the rising mist, and the upwelling build is pretty dog shit compared to other healers. So there it is, 50-minute video. Thanks for watching.